comfortable in this environment? Are they able to exhale and get back to who they were if they struggled? If they starred, can you replicate that, rinse and repeat, and show it once again? Consistency.
Yeah, validate a good performance, obviously learn from the mistakes you made. But more importantly, these guys got to play to their strengths. Show what you can do, not what you can't do. These guys are looking for guys to fit roles. All right, they're pieces. They're 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They're trying to earn a roster spot, which means they need one transferable skill that can earn them that roster spot.
And the three goes down. Well, you asked for it, Bobby, and there you see it. Koby Brea.
It now opens him up this year in the Summer League to maybe find a roster spot to stick with and stay on now.
And Sean, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And Drew Timme is really one of the guys that I reference when everyone talks about how the game in college. And when you think about it, it is difficult to make that transition to the NBA level, especially when you've been the guy to be able to come be a role player. Extremely proud of the way that Drew Timme has made himself an NBA player. But as you mentioned earlier,
sets and transferable skill sets to that next level, because that's really what it comes down to. You can have a skill set that makes you really successful in college. How do you kind of evaluate guys up when it comes to
in January, when your parent club is in Miami right now? That's going to be the biggest adjustment for a lot of these players, because it's like going from high school to college. They were the best player in high school. Now you're not going to be the best player in college. It's kind of the similar thing here.
I'll tell you the funny thing about that. It's also the difference between playing in a high level in college, flying in charters, right, Sean?
Yep.
Staying at the Ritz-Carlton, eating at Ruth's Chris, and all of a sudden you're flying Southwest Airlines bags fly free.
I'm flying on Southwest tonight, Coach.
Not the person, but I mean, the culture shock of going from very high level college basketball, being ridiculously successful, and then going from that to this dunk right here, which is pretty good.
Miller's off to a good start right now. Watkins obviously with the dunk, and then the other thing is, Coach, your guy, Ulbrich, he's got 5 offensive rebounds already in the game. He's got 4 points and 6 rebounds. And we've really only played, what?
It could be significantly more lucrative to do that. I think a lot of people at home want to know who is helping these young men make these decisions.
Yeah, well, it's first and foremost, so much confidence is being...
He impacts it when you watch the way he plays and how he can get to his shot so consistently and with such great ease.
I don't think so. I think good number for a big guard, big wing.
By the way, wingspan,
yeah,
right, and release point, right?
Yep.
Coach, we got a buy game going on here.
I was going to say, Team Miller could use Ace Bailey right now.
Well, they have more turnovers than they have shot attempts. That's not good. But I mean,
final seconds here of the opening quarter of the first scrimmage today here in Wintrust Arena. Shot goes down. Are they counting that?
I believe they did.
Remember, no replay.
The Sydney Kings played for former Australian national team head coach Brian Goorjian. Now, made 3 out of his 5 threes yesterday and showed all the other ways that he impacts winning with his defensive versatility, his passing, his toughness. He's a 6'9" forward.
Tell you what,
$1 million. He's going to get more by going back to Kentucky. That's kind of generational money. He'll be basically chasing what he gave up at Kentucky for the next 3 years. It's not an easy decision for him. I think a lot of it, what type of team is he going back to? That win against Golden State, and eventually they get a championship, and everything is okay in Boston right now. I think they're going to keep on, if they don't get to an NBA Finals, or if they don't win an NBA Finals, they're going to keep on keeping this group together here. And that's why they have all these draft picks as reinforcement.
Let me ask Bobby this. Bobby, in your time as in the front office, how many times did you guys make moves to make sure that another team didn't get?
And he threw his arms up in the air because in college that's a foul.
But you talked about it when in the beginning, kind of like your body language. Like if you're sitting here observing, I don't want to see a guy complaining.
Jamir Watkins.
That's a good bucket, by the way. Opportunity to see that live action.
Corey, what a first half for Jamir Watkins. 17 points.
And, set the tone for what our culture is. Set the foundation for Stanford in the ACC. Like being picked 17th out of 18 coming to the season. Ended up top 6, beating UNC on their home court. Like this is a big deal for me. I'm the kind of guy that, like, once I start something, I finish it, and that's what I do.
International players come over into the States, and the ability for them to, and I always say, like, how did you learn how? And I go, well, watching YouTube, or just listening to other people talk. And I think there's an
amazing opportunity. Like, seriously, it really is.
So I got what it just occurred to me here. A guy from France who studied in the best wine region in the United States. I mean, is it Napa Valley wine or French wine?
Once again, I turned 21 pretty late, so I won't say anything wine in the U.S. soil.
Did you jump out of the plane? That's what I want to know.
I did jump out of the plane.
You didn't jump out of the plane with those guys.
You got to tell the story. To answer that question.
So
listen to this. This is insane.
Yeah. So as you know, we had a new coaching staff. We had a lot of new players, a lot of new transfers. So over the summer, you know, we're trying to figure out like a little activity to get us to bond with each other.
This is unbelievable.
Out of the blue, we come to figure out that one of our compliance guy is a big fan of skydiving. The 6 of us go out on a Saturday, beautiful afternoon, 4 p.m., go up to 13,000 feet, jump all 3 of us from the first plane, 3 other guys from the second plane. Ooh. We get to the ACC Media Day. Our coach asked one of the reporters asked Jay Blake, the other captain, like, how did we get to know each other? I think that was you. He's like, well, I mean, you know, a couple activities over the summer, like when skydiving was the guys. Turn around, coach did not know. Coach was just freaking out. Don't tell me that, but yeah, it worked
no
pretty
chance,
well.
by the way, no chance for me. I thought I was going to get, like, you know, we had team meals together. We did, you know, skydiving.
And now what you have to do at the NBA level, you've got to be better than the scouting report. And Tahad Pettiford has struggled throughout this game, especially with handling the basketball. The 0 for 7, that's a nice finish. But the 0 for 7 is not as big of a concern as are the turnovers. That's the thing that, of course, as a point guard, these executives don't want to see you hand the basketball to the other team. The 0 for 7 shooting comes, it goes, but when you're turning it over, that doesn't help your case.
Conan Nienhauser back-to-back at the rim. Great verticality from him. Catch from Penn State. He was. And I went to what my go-to move was in high school. Jelani McCoy, I think, still has that ball implanted somewhere in the Wooden Center. And Jelani McCoy, as good as a shot blocker as he was,
how much you lifting and doing those type of things now?
When I was in Santa Barbara, it was 6 days a week. A lot of reps.
You know, speak of the experiences that these guys have today in comparison to what you experienced.
Well, and Steph, I think your USA basketball point is spot on. I played USA basketball, won a gold medal when I was 20 years old. Okay, Cooper Flagg won his first gold medal at age 15. And so when you think about, I was going into my 3rd year of college in my USA basketball experience. He was going into his sophomore year of high school. The trend just starts so much earlier. That's why these young men.
The season where he flat out took over games as a scorer, shot 40% from 3-point range as well.
To me, he's an elite shot maker. He's an elite scorer. He's a 3-level scorer.
As an assistant coach at this level, you've been here a long time. A great player coming in, and you see these guys coming from the college level to the NBA. What's the biggest difference that they have to learn in day one?
I think learning how to work as a pro.
Ceiling possible. A ceiling, Ray Allen possible. But you also think about, Seth, and you know this. Ray's my little brother. Ray Allen's first college game. We can't do that.
Let me ask you this, though. I mean, Ray Allen didn't come into the NBA until how many years in college?
3.
All right? All right, this guy's coming into the NBA, what, 18, 19 years old?
Yeah. Well, he's not wrong talking about the mental makeup, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
We've all been around amazing competitors that have excelled and been at the highest level. Corey, you more than...
And these are all competitors, and we're starting to see that there is a goal here at this scrimmage.
Well, things are tightening up. The third quarter definitely shifted. 33 points in the third quarter for Team Lazar.
Agency are kind of, it's free agency, really.
And retention,
and
right?
Draft and retain. Draft, developing, and retaining. Those are the three things there.
That's what, I mean.
That's what college basketball
is so important at the NBA level, because you think about the different guys. Look at Christian Brown, what he's doing for the Denver Nuggets. And this is a young man who did not come in with any type of expectation as such. But you think about the way the Nuggets have been able to move on from KCP, move on from Bruce Brown, and still have Christian Brown on a lower level contract. Of course, he's going to get paid, but he's played great basketball for them on a high-level playoff team on his rookie contract.
It's a 15-point game. Team Miller, as we've seen, Todd Pettifer on the last possession knocked down a three, and Hunter Salas denied on that one.
Oh, yeah, but it was Byrd with the kick out again. He's got 4 assists, 4 steals, 3 block shots to go with a very efficient offensive game for him. I know his team is losing right now, but I do think that he has stood out and played exactly the way that he wanted to this afternoon.
He is who he is, except he made shots.
And, Coach, we came in talking about one player you wanted to watch, Lachlan Ulbrich, and he has had a double-double today, 13 and 11.
Look, he's a very good basketball player. Now, does his game translate to the NBA? He's kind of a dying breed in terms of how he plays. He's a low-post player. He rebounds the ball.
Right there. Like, I don't know anything, but I'm going to happen to throw out 2 schools.
By the way, if it's NC State, that's his 4th school.
You know, it used to be we looked upon that as a negative. Now it's just part of the system.
Thanks, Corey.
all the rules are off except when it comes to comparisons.
We need to get Corey.
Is on the board. They got a bucket from Mackenzie Mbako, who was outstanding yesterday, and a nice jump hook goes down right there. Mbako played awfully well yesterday for Team Domerson, Henry Domerson, and his team is down 9 points.
He probably gave up the most in terms of his offensive output as a scorer, although he is capable, but he was a terrific leader. And every second unit needs a guy that can defend and lead, and James
Williams and Nembhard figured it out yesterday pretty quickly. Get the ball to him. He's going to score. I get some assists. Today, doing a really good job early, orchestrating and running the offense. He's got 3 assists and 6 points already, 2 3-pointers. It's just who he is. It's the fabric of who he is.
Well, today I think he is a little more selfish today, which is a good thing, right? Yesterday was kind of setting up his big. Today is like, you know what? I'm going to be a little bit more of a scorer right now, and he's hit 2 threes. You saw him in the break as far as the ability to pass the ball there.
Great defensive play right there.
He's had a great start to this game.
And by the way, for the second straight possession, Micah Peavy out of Georgetown, who went for 12 and 8 yesterday.
We talk about this when we're doing rookie extensions closer to October. The ability to get that guaranteed money, too. You have 4 years on a first-round contract. The first 2 years are guaranteed. Your release are guaranteed probably $6 million right there. You go back to
the combine. Understand that a significant member of Team Domerson was taken away early in this process when Boogie Fland decided he was not going to participate at the combine.
Decision by a young man saying there's more money in college than there is in the NBA for me short term, in the feedback that he's gotten. So, Bobby, I want to ask you.
50-55 pick.
Well, you know what? Because a year from now, there's going to be 60 new players that are going to come in and trying to take the jobs that these guys are trying to get right now. It goes in cycles, right? We just keep on turning it.
But was in the thing, and I love the kid, and he decides day before, instead of going and like showing, giving people a baseline, missed the end of the season, really, Kevin wasn't 100. That's not a good look.
I am always paying attention. I'm always got my head on a swivel.
And I'm not sure if this is even a legal question. You get drafted, which is great. You're going to be you're an NBA draftee. Team signs you to. How do you deal with that? Because a good portion of the guys will spend some time in the G League. How would you deal with that? Say disappointment. You could be on charter planes at North Carolina.
Because this isn't a solo thing here.
No.
I mean, all the games, all the practices, all the missed dinners, all the missed vacations, and stuff like that you were playing basketball and your family was at supporting you. What's this like going through this process with them?
Yeah, it's great. I'm blessed to have a great group of people in my circle.
And good luck to you in this process.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
North Carolina star Drake Powell. Sean and I are still trying to get past the 43-inch vertical.
I mean, like, we usually do the college slam dunk three-point competition at the Final Four every single year. And guys usually 37, 38. Man got 43.
To my huddle, guys. Don McClain, he can lollygag because he'll give me 30 in a hurry down in Arizona.
Jimmy.
And he wasn't
Look at that. Will some agents say, you know what, he's not working at, he'll come in, but he's not working at against that?
Well, yeah, you're going to get, there's two things that happens. You're going to
want to bring in Jonathan Givony. Jonathan, some of us were a little bit surprised yesterday when Drake made the decision to stay in. Where does he fit in your estimation?
25th. He's got such a young body.
Yep. 19 years old.
He's 19 years old. I mean, obviously he's got NBA athleticism. You know, it's to me, he's one of the most, that's the most important thing. Nebhard, distributing the basketball. Olbrich, you know, rebounding the ball, running the floor, being physical. You know, Tamar Bates scoring.
He's got 7 points, 9 points, excuse me, 6 rebounds here. A couple, we just saw him make a nice assist here. I think for him,
great pass.
Yeah, terrific pass.
Sean, the player you had an eye on here, and you talked a lot about yesterday, Ryan Nembhard. Those numbers continue to be very, very good.
Yeah, just consistent. It's coach thing that you have. What's the one trait that makes an NBA team say, you know what? That player can go. That can help us. And it's the ability to...
We can't hear him.
How these teams have competed here and how hard they are playing.
I also think about how many bad starts we've seen, but the key to, well, we've got an 8-point game in this one when you consider that, you know, this was a slaughter early. And we were talking about bad scheduling, et cetera, guarantee games and the whole nine, and just like that. The NBA scout is to show what can stop you from becoming a productive NBA player. They want to know
this combine. And something that's been mentioned to me several times now is the value that they are extracting from seeing all these high-level international prospects in one set decided not to play 5-on-5. Being able to see, you know, an 18-year-old like Mikhail Ruzic coming from Spain, you know, spending two days here against 22, 23-year-old against our best players from the SEC, from the Big Ten, and the ACC.
Jonathan, who needed to be here that isn't?
I mean, there's a lot of guys
in this setting compared to where they played.
How about the international guys that instead are staying with their club teams are coming over? There are more international players enrolling because of NIL, I would think, to get their feet, would have to get clearance to come in.
It depends on what your contract is over there.
So if you have a contract.
And so it's hard for them because they're losing dozens and dozens of players, and it's a real issue.
A lawsuit that the NCAA is going to win?
No, a lawsuit that FIBA's going to lose.
I think that email that FIBA sends them is just going to get lost in translation. They won't even see it.
All right.
And we just saw Bryce Williams knock down another three. He has had a very good day today. He's up to 16 points.
Prolific scorer at Nebraska for Fred Hoiberg.
Shooting it a lot better today. Team Williams with a nice run at the end of the third quarter. We've hit on lawsuits.
Victor Oladipo.
And I second that comp, and I would think that Corey Alexander would absolutely approve the official comp of Victor Oladipo.
I praise you all for your elite level work in your comps throughout these 2 days, and Victor Oladipo is absolutely on point.
And when you look at VJ, one of the things I think you go back to too is when he played
out there and do whatever is necessary, guard whoever he has to be successful, to win, and that's VJ Edgecomb's personality. That's his ability.
Woo! Talk about Tamar Bates playing to his strengths, getting downhill. You talk about Edgecombe. He has the opportunity to be an elite defender, a physical defender. And I
completely different player, and he felt so much more comfortable. And speaking of Tamar Bates feeling comfortable, going down the lane, jumping off the right foot.
That's over 7-1, by the way.
Head.
That's over 7.
Improved dramatically as the season went along.
Yeah, I mean, VJ Edgecombe, and again, when you look at his skill, he's going to get so much better. And this is a young man that once Jeremy Roach was injured, And
was he good?
It was good, Coach.
Even more valid.
It was good.
Even more valid when it happens in high school.
Being that we're talking about guys that aren't here, not playing, talking about Edgecombe. Bobby, I mean, he's kind of almost a throwback to the small ball, 4 or 5, whatever, 6'6". Reminds me of Anthony Mason, just for two cents.
Legal.
But like
guards, whether it be VJ, certainly Dylan Harper, Trey Johnson's another name.
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah Fierce, who we've talked about. I would be surprised if he had a problem. Listen, we went through this in New Jersey, 2003. Skill set, as far as from a length.
What position is Tanjay playing at the NBA level? That's the biggest. Who does he guard?
That's the biggest thing as far as
usage rate. And now once you get to the NBA level, can your game adapt to what you have to do there and playing that role as we've talked about so much? Could be Jamir Watkins.
He was great.
I think he could absolutely, and especially from the standpoint of he has that option to return to school, because he may have made himself another $1 million on today alone in NIL money to return.
Well, Bryce Williams, guys, by the way, 22 points.
The thing that I talk to young people about is be very wary of taking advice from people who have never walked in the shoes that you're walking in. And again, seek out counsel from people who understand what this life is about. Maybe you were an executive, maybe you were around the right people to be able to advise these young people, because anybody coming off the street does not know this business, and they don't always know to give the right advice.
Some guys are looking for the answer.
We know what we need to know about Johni Broome. He also played at this NBA Combine last year and 2 years ago. So, I mean, I think NBA teams have made up their mind about Johni Broome. He could come out here and have 30 points and 20 rebounds, and he's probably still a second-round pick.
But, JG, do you also think that he could come out here and show that he's improved in the areas that they said you need to go back to school?
We saw him, 5 weeks ago playing.
You saw him 5 weeks ago playing against college players.
These are college players, too.
Yeah, but these are better college players. These are the guys who were the stars.
At least we got to see him on the court on Tuesday. There is more. It's mandatory to be here. I understand, and I get where Jonathan's coming from. He was at, Morehead State and Auburn for 3 years, and he has played at a high level. Yes, we would have loved to see him play out here. If he goes in the first round, I don't think it will be. If he doesn't go in the first round, I don't think it will be because he didn't play here.
So I would like to ask JG if he's available for this question. Did Maxime Ray know?